Looking back, I realized that much of what I thought education was supposed to be has completely changed for me over the years. In school, I believed that memorizing facts and passing tests was the pinnacle of success. But as life unfolded, I came to understand a simple truth. Education isn't about what you memorize. It's about what stays with you long after you've forgotten the details. Real learning doesn't come from rote memorization. It comes from the experiences that challenge you to grow. I remember the first time I tried explaining something complicated to a child. I thought I had all the answers, but I stumbled over my words. That's when I learned that if you can't explain something to a child, you don't truly understand it yourself. Since then, I've approached learning differently, not as something to show off, but as a way to deeply connect with the world. During my early years, I believed that teachers were there to fill us up with knowledge, like vessels waiting to be filled. But the greatest educators I've encountered lit a spark in me. They showed me that a student isn't a container, but a torch. True education inspires curiosity, not just knowledge. That realization changed how I approached not just learning, but also life. Life, I've discovered, is a lot like riding a bicycle. You'll only stay balanced if you keep moving forward. There have been times when I felt stuck, as if everything was falling apart. But I realized that even the smallest steps forward, no matter how insignificant they seemed, were enough to keep me going. I also learned the hard way that two things might be infinite: the universe and human stupidity. And I'm still not entirely sure about the universe. It's humbling to admit, but recognizing my own mistakes and limitations taught me more than any book ever could. Mistakes, I've learned, are proof that you're trying. If you've never failed, you've probably never taken a risk worth learning from. For a long time, I prided myself on solving problems. But over time, I realized there's a difference between being clever and being wise. A clever person solves a problem. A wise person avoids it altogether. That lesson saved me from countless unnecessary struggles. When I was younger, I chased success relentlessly. I thought that was the goal: to achieve, to win, to impress. But the older I got, the more I understood that it's not about being a person of success. It's about being a person of value. Success fades, but the impact you leave on others lasts far longer. One lesson that stayed with me came from thinking about the future. I've often wondered what World War III might look like, but one haunting thought always lingers. World War IV would likely be fought with sticks and stones. It reminds me how fragile everything is and how important it is to value what we have now. Understanding is deeper than knowing. That's something life has taught me repeatedly. It's not enough to memorize facts. True wisdom comes from connecting the dots, questioning assumptions, and staying curious. I've learned that persistence, not intelligence, leads to clarity. It's not that I'm particularly smart. I've just learned to stick with the questions longer. Blind belief in authority has been one of my greatest enemies. Truth requires questioning, seeking, and refusing to settle for easy answers. I've also learned to laugh at life's ironies, like how light travels faster than sound, explaining why some people seem bright until they open their mouths. Talent alone is overrated. Genius, I've found, is 1% talent and 99% hard work. The people who succeed aren't necessarily the most gifted. They're the ones who show up every day, even when it's hard. Optimism didn't come naturally to me, but I've grown to appreciate its value. Being right as a pessimist never brought me joy. I'd rather be an optimist, even if it means being wrong sometimes. It makes the journey far more enjoyable. Happiness, I've learned, isn't tied to possessions or people. It's tied to purpose. A life lived for others, for something bigger than yourself. is a life that truly matters. And solitude, which once felt unbearable to me, has become one of my greatest luxuries. In the quiet, I find clarity. Attempting the impossible was once something I feared, but now I see that only those bold enough to try can achieve it. It's a sad reality that it's easier to split an atom than to change a prejudice. But every small step toward understanding makes a difference. The best preparation for the future is to live fully in the present. Experience is the only true source of knowledge. Everything else is just theory. And possessions, fame, and luxury, they've always felt empty to me. A simple, grounded life has been far more fulfilling. Mistakes are unavoidable if you're pushing boundaries. The only way to avoid them is to avoid having new ideas altogether. But new ideas, bold, crazy, imperfect, are what drive progress. And when I look at the forces shaping the world, stupidity, fear, and greed, I remind myself that rising above them starts with understanding them. The past is gone, the future is uncertain, and all we truly have is this moment. Living unapologetically in the present has brought me more peace than anything else. Intelligence, I've realized, isn't about knowing everything. It's about knowing where to find the answers when you need them. Weak people seek revenge. Strong people forgive, and intelligent people simply move on. That lesson has saved me from holding on to grudges that only weighed me down. Fame and recognition, I've learned, often bring loneliness, not fulfillment. And memorizing information you can look up, that's just wasted energy. Save it for solving real problems. Teaching by example, not words, is the only way to truly lead. Once I accepted my limits, I realized I was capable of far more than I thought. Limits aren't walls, they're starting points. One day you might regret not hearing these lessons sooner, but it's never too late to apply them. Life is strange, unpredictable, and often lonely, but that's where its beauty lies. If you never challenge your limits, you'll never know how far you can go. Life isn't about waiting for things to get easier. It's about learning to thrive in the chaos.